Well, hello there. We have movies to review. You excited? I sure am. So, without further ado, let's do this. But first of all, there's a disclaimer. If you liked these movies, good for you. If you didn't like these movies, good for you. If you absolutely hate these movies and want to march down and tar and feather the directors of this movie, don't do that. Save your tar and feather for something more important. Like, seriously. Also, I make these videos not as a form of fun. It's something I do for fun. I'm not doing this to pick on anyone, to nitpick, to upset anybody. It's just me having fun. So with that said, let's go. Alright, so the first movie we're talking about is actually a documentary. It is called Making and Unmaking. This documentary was brought to my attention by the creator himself, and his name, of course, is Sean Rose. I keep wanting to say Russ, but it's Rose. So Mr. Rose made basically a documentary about 7 years of his life on how he went from making small little movies to making a movie that basically gave him his big break. And he talks about how that whole process happened. In the movie that gave him his big break, of course, is called Upstate Story. Originally, the movie was called I. And for me, I watched it last night, and I was exhausted because I had just come back from work, but I decided to give the man my attention, and I did. So, the movie was I felt heavy at first. Like, it was, like, very heavy because of what he was talking about, how starting out in the dream, as it were, it was very hard. It was difficult. There were a lot of things he had to get to hurdle over, to fight over and through. But it was very inspiring for me, because as a content creator myself, who also makes movies, one of the things he said, oh, by the way, you can find this movie on YouTube for free. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. You guys should go watch it. For those of you that are starting YouTube and want a filmmaker's, look at how hard it is, because it is grueling. Basically, there is a point where he says that it was very hard. Like, he didn't think anyone would like the movie he made, that being the movie I just mentioned, Upstate Story, because he thought no one's gonna like this, but people did. And with that said, I couldn't help but, side with him, because I was like, whenever I make a video, whenever any YouTuber makes a video, we don't know if anyone's gonna like the video. We don't know unless people tell us if our content is good. I'm one of those few YouTubers, I think, that has comments on my channel, but not many people really have constructively criticized my channel. I've had to constructively criticize myself, or one of my friends has. And I've gone from being miserable to being somebody who just makes videos and has fun. I may not look like I have fun sometimes. I may look a little dead inside, but I am having fun. It's just, I keep myself very, very contained in a lot of videos. Though sometimes that containment will unleash, and you'll get to see all of the energy that I have. And that's the kind of the same thing with making movies, is that you're trying to find the right people, and you're trying to find the right ideas of what you're going to do, and it's very grueling. Very grueling. He starred in the movie he made, Uptown Story, and from all opinions, it was good. I haven't watched it myself. I might sometime. But I watched this documentary, which is basically about it and about what led to it. And I have nothing but respect for the guy. If there's one critique I would give that documentary, is somewhere in the documentary he's talking about one of his movies that he wanted to make, which was about him. It was something that never really came to fruition. But he basically said that he was going to have someone throw a ball and stuff about dimensional space and all this stuff, fantasy realms. He kind of glossed over the whole entire ball thing, and I wanted to know. I was like, why don't you read to us some of the script? I actually want to know what, as a creative person myself, I kind of want to know what you put in there. He didn't really read the script. He just kind of glossed over it and just explained things. I'm like, I kind of sat there and I was like, I don't know if he thought we wouldn't care or if he was just pushed for time, but I was like, I would have liked to know. Because I like ideas. So, this movie is an hour long. It cost him $500 to make. That was his budget, and it was a nice little documentary. It was nice. Should you watch it? Yes. Especially if you're doing YouTube and you want to see from the perspective of someone who went through a struggle to do his dream. Because sometimes, as you'll see in the documentary, he had to push his dreams aside for the sake of his family. And we've all had to do that. We've all had to push something aside for something or somebody. And for me, I've had to put a lot of stuff aside. As many have. This whole entire documentary is kind of like an embodiment of the Spider-Man 2 quote, which is, sometimes to do what's right, you have to be steady and let go of what you love the most. Or want the most. That includes your dreams. And sometimes in letting go of your dreams, they're actually not. Sometimes when you sacrifice your dreams and you think you'll never see them again, you could be wrong. In this man's case, Mr. Rose's case, he let go for a bit. But then he came back when he was able to. And it paid off. This movie reminded me of myself in a way. When I began as a YouTuber, when I started gaming, I was over there. On the couch. The old couches, not the new ones. I mean, we need to get some newer ones now, but back in the day, couches. We don't have those couches anymore. But I distinctly remember sitting on that couch with a different headset, much different. The mic quality was actually pretty good. And this laptop that I'm currently on a lunch tray. I didn't have a lot of space, but I worked with it. And you probably would, if you looked at my old videos, you could probably hear all the background noise of all these siblings and people and stuff, and there was nothing I could do back then because I didn't know half the stuff I know now. That's part of the journey of this channel, is you get to see where I started, and you get to see where I am now. You get to see all of the craziness that happens. And that's what this movie kind of summarized. And it was nice. So yeah, go ahead and watch it. I do think you should. There is only one joke I could make with this movie, but his wife beat me to it. Because I wanted to say, he looks so Amish to me. That's what I thought to myself as I was watching the movie, and then his wife, says at one point, "Goodbye, Amish man." And I was like, she should do all my jokes for me. So that's Making and Unmaking. it's a good little thing. And now we're moving on to our next one. This movie we're going to be reviewing and talking about is Host. Host is basically like, in a nutshell, it's like Unfriended. Only it's not using Skype. It's using Zoom. I'm just waiting for the movie that has Discord in it, and then we'll have the big three, as it were. So, Host takes place in modern times, like, 2020, when the was happening. And one of the characters says, you can't even cough anymore without getting in trouble. Which back those years, that time was true. So there's that. So there are 6 friends. 6 people, basically. There's Haley, there's Gemma, there's Emma, there's Radina, Caroline, and there's this guy, I forget his name, and we'll call him, let's give him a nice name. We'll call him Billy, because he has a nice beard. Billy, out of all of them, I liked the most, because he just was fun. But in Host, let me save you guys some trouble here and give you a image, because I usually do that. Oh, wait, hold on. This will help. This is weird. I know this looks like really weird, but this is the best I can do. So, a pointer. So, that's Emma. That's Gemma, right here. Holly, Caroline, and the medium is not in this picture, but we'll call her Miss Lace for this. So these are the 3. So basically, Gemma has the brilliant idea to pretend at one point. They all have this idea, basically, to hold this seance with Miss Lace, and Miss Lace and Gemma has this brilliant idea to pretend that she remembered somebody after thinking she got like strangled or something. Not strangled, sorry. And so, what happens is, because of her making that up, at this point Billy is gone. He gets cut off before this happens. Miss Lace tells her that she basically let anything in with a mask. And basically what is let in is something pretty horrible, and it starts taking each and every one of them out one by one, in summary. And basically with each one is taken out, was quite interesting to watch. The only thing I didn't understand at the time, the movie doesn't really explain, but I've had time to think about it, is Billy does come back eventually. But it's like he and Caroline and Gemma and the girl who came up with the idea are all that's left. And I don't know how Billy exactly is attacked when he left before Gemma did the whole pretend thing. But he gets attacked, and they don't really explain why. It's not really explained. It's a great movie otherwise. It's pretty entertaining. Like, I liked Unfriended. And I know it's weird to say, because I've seen a lot of people not like it, but I actually thought it was brilliant. A brilliant concept. As is Host, a brilliant concept. And these characters were very likable in their own way. I enjoyed it. Like, I can never remember the names. And basically, because Gemma breaks into her house and finds her alive. And I again don't get what exactly happens because there's a jump scare at the end. You aren't really told what happens to them, which is fine. Horror movies can be open-ended. You can decide for yourself whether they survived or not. And for me, I'm like, I don't know. Do I recommend this movie? Yeah. Yeah, sure. It's fun. I actually got jump scared twice in the movie, and that's saying something. Because the only other movie I've ever watched that's ever jump scared me was Sinister. And Sinister is a review I'll have to do sometime, because there's stuff that I wanted to say about that. Not now, though. But that's my review of Making and Unmaking and Host. Sorry if there isn't as much energy in this one because people are around. And there were a lot of distractions. People wanting my attention. But otherwise, I hope you all enjoyed, so leave a like and subscribe. There's always room for more. See you next video. Goodbye, everyone.